Hi there, my name is Jeff Adventure, and this is my D&Dify series. In this series, I take your favorite TV shows, movies, and other popular media and turn them into Dungeons & Dragons adventures. An unusual quick note before we get started: if you've watched Helluva, you know it contains very adult content, and if you haven't watched the show and choose to continue watching this video, weird choice, but consider yourself warned. You're about to see some and hear some censored but still filthy f***ing language as I am leaning into the Helluva aesthetic. Now then, the usual quick note before we get started: D&Dify videos are not just for game masters, since we dig into the fun stuff without giving away all the twists for you players. So feel free to stick around if you want to play fucking despicable eating demons who deserve their piss-soaked and sad quarter of hell, and leave running the immediate murder professionals company into the ground to your game master and me while you fucks try and kill one fucking human for once in your miserable fucking afterlives. I've also got a lot more info about what I do on YouTube and the internet at large that I used to clutter the intro and outro of these videos with that is now in my channel video, which you should be seeing linked as an annotation if you're watching this on YouTube. So with all that out of the way, let's jump right in and D&Dify Helluva.
Murder professionals.
Standard disclaimer, spoilers ahead. At the time of recording this, there's just a few episodes up on YouTube for free, so go watch those if you haven't already. For the rest of you, let's get this murder party rolling by discussing adventuring ideas. Helluva has a lot going on. It's kind of a fucking mess, and I kind of fucking love that. If you need a refresher, Helluva is a show about the demons that serve as employees at IMP, Immediate Murder Professionals, which conducts contract killing for other demons using a magical tome that allows passage to Earth. For our purposes, we can look at Helluva as a series of independent adventures that almost always share one core feature: you're here to murder someone. The work of making Helluva into a one-shot is practically already done for us, since Immediate Murder Professionals' business model gives us a super easy way to set up the adventure premise. We are employees of IMP, either the crew of Moxie, Millie, Blitz, and Luna from the show if playing as those characters gets your hard, or your own personal demons. Ultimately, your choice. With such an easy formula, I think you sick freaks can easily imagine an adventure where you go to Earth to kill a BuzzFeed quiz writer, a grandma, an elected government official, a pilot currently flying a plane, a mafia boss, an NPC that's suspiciously similar to one of the players at the table that the DM feels scorned by for eating all the snacks at the last session, an evil toddler, a not evil toddler, a Karen, or do us all a favor and kill one of the fucking billionaires hoarding the world's wealth like greedy fucking dragons sitting on their piles of gold coins. I'm gonna mention this one more time later in the video, you'll get it when we get there, but I do not advocate for the real-life murder of anyone. This is fantasy. Admittedly sick fantasy, but fantasy all the same. So anyway, I'm going to pick the target I'd most prefer to murder as a player and make a proper structure for our contract kill adventure, but in these videos we talk about that after we talk about player characters. Tabletop role-playing game systems that aren't Dungeons & Dragons 5e may be able to help you get a little closer to the canon setting of Helluva without tweaking too much about standard gameplay. Perhaps giving players little else but fire immunity and decent marksmanship in the way of combat abilities as we see with the main characters of the show. But my recommendation for 5e players is to imagine a slightly D&Dified version of Helluva, one where our Moxies and Blitzies are tieflings, our Stoluses and Vias are owl folks, and our Lunas and Vortexes are furries. I mean, shifters from the Eberron setting. Or maybe homebrew wolfkin, whatever, you can fucking figure it out. And also one where those fantasy races can pick up fantasy class levels as warlocks, bards, or even wizards. I would personally have this magic only be available to those in hell, and heaven, I guess, if you want to bring in some angels on this adventure, so that A, I wouldn't have to tweak the mortal realm as presented in the show all that much, and B, that the truly freakish presence of our demons is felt by those who are sent to kill in the mortal realm. I don't see a reason why the immediate murder professionals wouldn't have hired the kind of chaotic, murderous freaks that make up your average adventuring party, and I think that you and your friends are going to make this adventure feel genuinely Helluva by how you roleplay those characters. If your table is full of fans of the show that are ready to play a game in this setting, you sadistic fucks are probably already thinking of some wild shit to try, and I think that kind of thing is exactly what this over-the-top adventure needs to feel on theme. To take a break from the shtick for a moment, I think this is a one-shot where it might be really important to have a Session Zero-esque quick check-in before you play to make sure everyone is comfortable with the adult themes you may discuss and roleplay through in this game. It's one thing to just say fuck a lot in character, and yet another thing entirely to roleplay through some potentially very triggering scenarios. I don't think I need to give you the full list of the adult themes we see in the show, but among the most egregious, explicit topics is murdering children. And that's the kind of thing I'd want to chat about with everybody at my table before we show up to the session and find out that we're tasked with slaughtering our way through an orphanage. I hope that helps. Now, back to the fucks and you psychopaths should have enough info now to start making your fucked up character ideas a reality. So I'll just wrap up this section by saying that I hold to my standard 5e one-shot level recommendation of 3rd to 8th level. After all, you're supposed to be disposable mercenary underlings and not super powerful demon lords. That level range should give you some flexibility to pick what fits for your table and allow you all to raise some hell but still feel a little danger if a human pulls a gun on you. Alright, let's decide who we're gonna kill with structuring our adventure. Oh man, if I'm not already on a watch list, I'm about to be on one. Let's kill ourselves a billionaire. This is that second mention I mentioned earlier. Loud and clear, I'm not telling you to kill a billionaire, IRL. But I wouldn't mind if you told them to pay their fair fucking share of taxes for once. And you may notice that this sounds an awful lot like I'm ripping off the starting premise of episode 4, Cherubs, where Moxie, Millie, and Blitz are sent to kill Lyle Lipton, a crazy rich inventor, on behalf of his dead and in hell business partner. It's because I am. Shut up. I've got a good reason. Episode 4 was perfectly Helluva bossy in the direction it went, with the added bonus of arguably the best costumes in the series and my personal favorite gag thus far. All I want to do is imagine this moment, where the gang is about to burst in, guns blazing, went a little differently. A little less sad, suicidal old man, and a little more hyper-paranoid, maximum security, billionaire mega mansion. Take it or leave it, there's plenty of other directions you could go with this one-shot, and you can, in turn, rip off as much as you want from my idea if you think you've got a better one. So without further ado, in true one-shot fashion, we should drop right into the action to kick off our adventure, and in this case, I think that means landing right at the gates of that mansion after portaling our way to the mortal realm. Guards, security systems, automatic turrets, throw all the home defenses you can think of at us, because obviously unnamed billionaire, has all the money in the world to throw into these security measures. We work through those, get to our target, and maybe he goes down surprisingly quickly. Good job, guys. But twist! We try portaling out, and the book isn't working. This sneaky bastard researched the occult and has warded the place to prevent portals to hell from the inside. The doors slam shut, and we realize he's not really dead as a giant military-grade mech robot bursts in, scoops out the unnamed billionaire's brain, and plugs the brain into its circuits so the real fight can begin. Or maybe a mob of like 20 or more of the unnamed billionaire's butt-naked clones, slick with goo and fresh from their preservation tanks, come bursting into the room and start beating the shit out of us. Or maybe he immediately rises from hell, having been instantaneously crowned a demon prince for the thousands of shipping facility workers he fucked over for his own profit as a mortal, now imbued with awesome power and returning with rage and fiery vengeance to enact upon us lesser demons for killing him. But then yeah, whoever survives can go back to hell. So, fun times. Sorry not sorry for spilling the beans on a bunch of good ideas for our billionaire murder party in this video, but I trust you DMs can make something fun and equally fucked up for your own billionaire murder party, or take that inspiration into a different kind of murder party with a different target. In any case, let's stalk that billionaire's mansion with a deeper dive into monsters and challenges. For our billionaire murder adventure, we can load the mansion with a few humanoids, maybe some robots, and a few other options based on which twist we end up running into. I would recommend making the guards a little bit more deadly than commoners, and it's probably best to add firearms to any 5e humanoid stat blocks to reflect the most common threat our demons seem to experience in the show. There's a variety of constructs you can use to model guard bots, but I'd also recommend adding firearms to these stat blocks, but make them mounted guns instead of held ones. The giant billionaire brain-piloted mech can be a souped-up construct with the biggest of guns, and, I don't know, maybe some Doc Ock-style grappling arms or something else that's cool and deadly. You can make the mob of naked billionaire clones deadly by grouping them into a few swarms to overwhelm the party with stats and abilities similar to a swarm of rats, but obviously a bit stronger. And you can pull any number of demon or devil stat blocks to make the freshly crowned demon prince. I would also consider throwing in some summoned lesser demons or devils to fight on behalf of our billionaire demon prince if it were me. For other challenges, stealth is probably going to be the biggest one to consider if we don't want the whole security force bearing down on us, and having a security room where we can deactivate cameras or motion sensors or whatever would probably make sense to add in as well. Depending on the length of the adventure, a skill challenge to escape the mansion once the billionaire is truly dead might also fit well, and with that option in our back pockets, we should have plenty enough to run our average one-shot adventure. Our unnamed billionaire's mansion is stocked and ready to be set upon by unwitting demons, so let's go ahead and pitch this adventure with a dramatically written adventure prompt. I usually include an adventure prompt with the adventure handout that I give to my one-shot players, which includes things like character starting level, a gold allowance for weapons and armor and such, a magic item allowance if it makes sense for the adventure, and a couple other parameters for character creation, which may include just pointing players to the player characters section of this video. And I would imagine those to be good to include in your adventure prompt if you don't want to end up with a random dragonborn in your party, unless you're into that. whatever. You play your game however the fuck you want. Alright, so here's the adventure prompt I would give my players for this one-shot adventure. You are a band of adventurers. Ah, who am I kidding? You're no noble band. You're fucking murderers and deviants who wound up as contract killers in hell working for a shitty little agency called Immediate Murder Professionals. You've been given an assignment. You better not cock up because there's big money on the line to kill some big shot billionaire holed up at his big fuck-off mansion. Big money means big security, and while the client doesn't care how much of a mess you make, you're more likely to kill the guy and not end up as a pit smear full of bullet holes on a really expensive rug if you go in quietly and off the billionaire without causing too much of a scene. Get ready to play as a foul-mouthed tiefling in equal parts horny and mysterious owlfolk, or an obvious furry so you can murder one of the richest fucks in the world in this one shot, based on Helluva Boss. That's the end of the adventure prompt. I am both surprised and delighted to see Helluva Boss getting so many views on YouTube, but so happy to see so many people also enjoy this really bizarre but absolutely hilarious show that I also really enjoy. I hope the little cross-section of people that enjoy both Helluva Boss and tabletop RPGs get inspired to run a game in this unique setting. So send this to your game master. Please tell me what you think about running or playing a game like this in the comments section down below, and as always, pretty please send me pictures and stories if you end up running this at your own table. I'm a new creator here on YouTube, and that means every like and comment helps get these videos out to an even broader audience, so if you feel I've earned it, a quick like and a comment telling me what show, movie, or video game you'd like me to D&Dify next would be super appreciated. I post homebrew D&D content, D&D memes, and other D&D internet stuff, and all manner of updates for my live stream and other videos on my Twitter and Instagram, where you should definitely follow me if you want to catch all the content I'm putting out. If you're watching this on YouTube, a subscribe is also super appreciated, and you can hit that bell icon to get notifications for these videos. Please hit the buttons to do the other things if you're catching this on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy adventuring.